My great people, my kings and queens, your boy Joyner is here. So excited. It's very rare that we cut into our music moment to talk to anyone during this time. But look, you know, if I do this, it's very important. And today we're going to be talking to Dr. John Gordon, Superintendent of Suffolk Public Schools. Yes, you heard me right. He's a superintendent of Suffolk Public Schools. And Dr. Gordon, I want to say hello to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. You know, we're really excited to be here and appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, I never forget, it was during the pandemic. My wife came in running. She was like, do you know that the superintendent of Suffolk is going live on Facebook? I was like, what? Oh, I said, let me see if I'm not. No, let me stop. I'm gonna stop right there. But I think you were like the only gentleman that was keeping the parents and students informed.
Yes, sir.
On what was going on with the situation that situation that we were going through with COVID. So tell us about that. What caused you to do that?
You know, I had only been a superintendent for about 5 months when the pandemic hit. You know, I started on October 14, 2019. And one of the things I quickly realized is that there was a lot of different parent groups out there. People were using Facebook for information. So instead of us trying to create a new platform, I figured I would go to the platform that people were most familiar with and use that in order to be able to get our message across and our information out there. You know, when I first came to Suffolk, for example, on Instagram, we only had one follower. So I really wanted to make a focus on improving and increasing our social media traffic, keeping people informed, and this way they also will hear things directly from me and wouldn't have to worry about, you know, any additional layers. So, you know, when we first set it up, I didn't really even have questions beforehand. I was literally had my phone in front of me or the computer, and I'm reading the questions as they're scrolling through. And the only challenge with that is, you know, at the time, especially when people begin to do their reaction to it, you will lose some information because of the scroll. So now we've kind of improved that, where we ask people to send us questions about a week in advance. The community engagement team, Mr. Thomas, Ms. Dickens, you know, Ms. Hatton, they all categorize it for me. And if I don't know some of the answers, I may have to check with members of my team. Those are the questions that I deal with first. And then the last 5 to 10 minutes, I then will still take some live questions in case people just logged on. So we had goals. I mean, on some of those, we were getting 10,000 views, 8,000 views. And I would talk trash in the beginning. We're going to get 10,000 views today, you know, just to try to encourage more people to come out. And I would ask our audience at the time to text or call or tag people within it so that we could get more people that we know that wanted to know about Suffolk Public Schools or know more about the information I was delivering at that time.
That's so awesome and key. And here's something that I picked up. You know, Dr. Gordon, we like to talk about success during these 2 hours that we're together on the air. And one of the things that you just said really sparked my heightenedness of a leader. You said that I don't have all the answers, but I can go to people who can help me get the answers.
That's right.
It's a true statement of leadership, and I commend you for acknowledging that and moving forward in that. Kudos to you, man. So excited and elated about what you're doing for Suffolk. And I was driving in the car, and my wife, you know, we rode together, and she pulled up on Facebook about this special thing that you're doing with the students, seniors who are graduating from high school, going to college, in education.
Yes, sir.
And they're having a guaranteed job. If and when they come back to the area. Tell us about where that came from.
Yeah, I actually started that last year with the graduating class of 2022. And, you know, everybody in the field of education has been experiencing the same concerns when it comes to the teacher shortage or just staff shortage overall. And, you know, we can do sign-in bonuses, we can do other things such as tuition reimbursement, but no one was really thinking outside of the box of, well, the best way for sustainability and to decrease this shortage is to make sure that you have a long-range plan. So it's not just the people that are graduating that year, but you also want to be able to have some future reserves, as I call it, that will be coming in. And I just really just thought of it one night. And, some of my high school principals, I know Derek Bryan, principal at Kings Fork High School, the first year I did it, he was calling me. He's like, you out here like Oprah. You out here just giving jobs out. You got a job. You got a job, And the best thing about it is when we are handing these letters of intent, these guaranteed contracts, not only was I watching the students' reaction, but I was also looking in the stands and seeing the reaction of their parents or their family members who now know as soon as they're done, that stress, that potential trauma of having to worry about where you're going to have employment is over. And what I also had knew from talking to, several of my students from my Superintendent's Advisory Council, or even talking to current SPS employees, we had a large percentage of kids that as soon as they went to college, they never came back. They would go to college, and wherever the city is that they're in school at, or if there's other relatives, they didn't want to return to SPS. They didn't want to return to the city of Suffolk. So we had to do something different to incentivize them to want to come back and give back to their community. So having that job, and I put it for a 2-year window. It all depends on if you want to stay for 4 years and get your bachelor's degree, or if it takes you a little bit longer, or if you want to get your master's degree. There's a 2-year window on those guaranteed letters of intent. And for this year, for the class of 2023, it says 2027 and 2028. Either year that you want to come back to working, because we know that we're going to have some vacancies. And what a lot of times goes unheard of, or maybe not documented well, is people just think that a lot of educators are just getting out of education because of what happened with the pandemic. But sometimes what they don't realize is we also have a large percentage of teachers, especially, that all came in together. So because they all came in together, they all retire together.
Correct.
So we have to be able to kind of do some things that are different. I know of one other school division here in the region that's already copied my idea. And we're not going to give them any plugs on the air. But that also lets us know that our concept is working. And this year, we gave out a total of 18 guaranteed, contracts for those folks to be able to come back. And it's across the board. It's across the board, where it's elementary, middle, and high, as well as some of our career and technical education teachers.
Wow. We're talking to Superintendent John Gordon right here on Praise. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're talking to Dr. John Gordon, Superintendent of Suffolk Public Schools, who's doing an amazing job as a leader. And how long have you been with the division now?
I have been with the division now 3 years, 9 months.
Good gracious.
And
good
4
night.
days.
Not that anybody's counting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you've done so many great things. So what were you doing prior to this?
I was chief of schools in Chesterfield County for a little over 2 years. I actually used to be a history teacher and basketball coach at Meadowbrook High School before I went into administration, became dean of students there. Then I became an assistant principal at Meadowbrook. And one of the rules that Chesterfield had, and I think a lot of school divisions do, if you're an assistant principal, you're not actually allowed to receive that stipend for coaching. But because I got the job in August, I didn't want to walk away from my team. So my last year coaching basketball, I actually coached for free. And when it was senior night, I wore a tuxedo on the sidelines. I was kind of known for, having that trademark of having the best dressed coaching staff, because we wanted to be able to stand out. Yeah. And we also wanted to be able to model it for our players and the college programs that were coming to recruit them. So I was an assistant principal for 2 years, and I was a principal at James Monroe High School in Fredericksburg for 5. Director of Administrative Services for 3 after that, and then came back to Chesterfield as chief before I got this job in 2019.
Bro, how old are you? I mean, good night.
I am 49, man.
Oh,
49.
my goodness.
Be 50 in a couple of weeks.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
God truly has his hand on you. You're doing some amazing things. So, and I know that the incentives that what you have for the students is not the only thing that you have going on at the school.
Correct.
I cannot remember the acronym, but there was an acronym that I was told about something else that you have going on at the school. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
All right, good.
Yeah, it's our STAR program.
Okay.
And what we're really trying to do is twofold. On the adult side, we're trying to be able to give people a clear path for career advancement. So it's going to be tailored professional learning depending on what you are basically saying is either your dream job or the next step in your career. On the kids side, we basically had them fill out applications, and we're giving them paid internships and experience this summer. So if you check our social media, you will see students that are working in the human resources department, students that are working in technology department. We actually had signing days at all three of our high schools. Our career and technical education director, Mr. Andre Skinner, along with the human resources department, Ms. Diane Whiting, one of the coordinators, we had them in front of the step and repeats. And it was just like you were signing your college letter of intent to really highlight these kids. And they're doing some great work. And this also will serve not only for the fact that they're getting paid because we're treating them as normal employees, but hopefully they will get them the experience to also want to be able to come back and work for us, especially for those kids that are working in that technology field. You know, that's growing so much throughout the entire country and throughout the globe, that we want to be able to say, not only can you get the coursework that is necessary to become certified in those areas, but we're going to give you that hands-on experience as well. And this is really the way that our kids learn, with that hands-on experience.
Awesome. I'm closing now, as preachers say. What makes, in your vision now, what makes Suffolk Public Schools so special?
Yeah.
What makes it special?
I think the first thing is the people that work there and the kids that attend. You know, Suffolk's an interesting place where, you know, not only are we the largest locality for a city, square miles in Virginia, but we also have so many different things that are going on, from our rural agricultural side to some of the challenges that you may see in a traditional inner city, to some of the more affluent issues that may also pop up because kids sometimes have more access to things. So one of the things that we really try to do is find ways to bring the entire city together. And, you know, athletics has been a key component of that. You know, we were one of the first school divisions in the entire region, if not the first, to make sure that all of our athletic fields are turf. We also put in new basketball floors. We also put in new tracks. You know, because I know as a former student athlete, this was always a great way to motivate a lot of our kids to not only keep their grades up, but also to keep them out of trouble. You can go by Nansemond River High School in the spring, and between Nansemond River and John Yates Middle School, you will see 1,000 students and their families out there taking up all of the fields.
Wow.
And so parents feel really comfortable with that because they know where their kids are. And so one of the things I've always tried to talk about is making us the premier school division in the country by creating these dynamic learning environments. You know, we were the first ones to make sure that every classroom had a whiteboard. When the pandemic was going on, the first thing I did was purchase as many Chromebooks and laptops as I could. And now we're super excited that we are documenting a lot of this with our partnership with 21st Century Ed. We have a book that comes out on July 31st.
Wow.
That really describes how not only the plan that we put in place to improve our science student achievement scores, but also our plan with the STAR program as an example to improve economic and workforce development within the city. Creating our community partnerships with Town Bank, United Way, who kind of helped us sponsor it. This book we really believe is going to be an Amazon bestseller. And then at the end of this calendar year, to just kind of put a bow on it all, we had a film crew that's been following us the last 6 to 7 months. So we have a documentary that comes out that shows not only the great work that we're doing, it also shows some of the challenges that we've gotten from people who just don't want to support the school division, and how we have really pushed back heavily with our talent, our evidence of our school improvement. Graduating class from 2023 had the highest scholarship total ever at $34.3 million. So we know that our kids are excelling. We know that our staff is doing well. And it's my job to be able to not only celebrate them, but to cheerlead them on, because I believe that we've hired the best team in the world and that we have the best experts in the field.
We are talking to Superintendent Dr. John Gordon of Suffolk Public Schools. We'll be right back. I want to ask you one more question because you just gave us a lot of things. And I want to talk about pressure next, okay? So we'll be right back. It's Praise Radio. My great people, my kings and queens, your boy Joyner is here, along with Dr. John Gordon, Superintendent of Suffolk Public Schools. And he's been enlightening us on what's going on for the school division of Suffolk. And I just have to ask you a question, Dr. Gordon. Is there any pressure? I mean, to do what you do, and to strive for success in that. Like, is there any pressure on? Do you put pressure on yourself?
Yeah, there's not going to be any pressure that's going to be greater than my own intrinsic and internal pressure. You know, I know that end all be all, everything that happens with our 14,000 students, our 2,325 adults, it all comes down to me. But if you put the right people in the right places, you know, I'm one of the superintendents or leaders that really believes in acknowledging the people, you know, acknowledging the fact that I know that when I go to an event, Jarrell Thomas is going to be with me. He's going to capture me throwing this high heat at the Norfolk Tides game, right?
Yeah.
We're going to make sure that we let our folks know that you're appreciated for what you do. And then because I have a superintendent's advisory council, I meet directly with the kids. You know, one of the things I really promise to our school board is I can guarantee you that they will know who their superintendent is. And because we're being very, very progressive, and because we have a lot of innovation and different things that are going on, that makes some people uncomfortable because they don't want the school division to be successful. Right. Especially when the majority of the people in the school division look like me and you. Mm-hmm. So it becomes a challenge on that end. But at the same time, that's what motivates me. Because when we have all this evidence of our kids getting all these scholarships academically, athletically, getting these dual enrollment and associate degrees, and starting new innovative programs like the Center for Performing and Production Arts from an early partnership that we had with Pharrell, you can't take that away. You can't take away that we are doing something where in that program, the CPPA that I just referenced, we're really trying to show kids that you can actually make more money on the production side of being an entertainer and have greater longevity than being in front of the mic. Wow. So it's just little things like that gets the kids to understand. I get a lot of my ideas from the kids, conversations I have with them, and they believe in me because I'm taking their ideas and concepts and putting it towards action. That's
awesome. Great people. We've been talking to Dr. John Gordon, Superintendent of Suffolk Public Schools. Your vision is just amazing. What's the next check mark before we get out of here? What's the next check mark on your vision?
Oh man! So besides the 21st Century Ed documentary that we have coming out with STEM Century, I think the next thing is I'm still looking to improve our facilities. Mm-hmm. So we're replacing John F. Kennedy Middle School, which has been a long time coming. That groundbreaking will probably take place sometime this fall, with the doors opening up in 2026. Wow. We're also are getting ready to put out a request for proposals to expand Northern Shores Elementary School, because I'm trying to get rid of all of our mobile units at all of our schools. I want to rebuild Elephant's Fork. I want to rebuild Forest Glen. I mean, it's time for our city and it's time for our people to make sure that I'm really big on making sure that our kids have first class everything. And it's not just going to be about the uniforms, athletic uniforms they wear. It's going to be about when you walk onto this campus, you can tell that the city and the school division are strong partners in making this the best that it can be. And, you know, there's been some areas where we've kind of lagged behind. And it took me to really push. It took our team to really show the data to get folks to understand that the way that sometimes some things have been done is just not right. And so we need to make sure, if we're serious about reducing crime and serious about giving these kids these opportunities, let's treat them with greater respect. Let's make sure that we put everything in their hand that they need to be successful. And then even as they get older, let's continue to encourage them and serve as mentors so they can reach all of their goals.
Great people. We've been talking to Dr. John Gordon, Superintendent of Suffolk Public Schools. Thank you so much for allowing me to have this opportunity to holler at you. Greatly appreciate it. I know you're a busy man. Of course, we've already heard how many things you have going on, but we're so gracious to have you come into the studio just to drop some dimes and just show love to the city in which you love and where you serve, and that speaks volumes about your character. And I've seen people on live, and they've tried to down talk and downplay you, but man, you just got that a certain swag about yourself that you're
yeah.
able to, let your haters be your elevators.
That's right.
So that's a great
may
thing.
steal that.
Yeah.
I may steal that. Now, I definitely appreciate the opportunity, and we know that when you're progressing and doing what's necessary, that makes some people uncomfortable.
Correct.
And it's not going to change the fact that that's what needs to happen, especially if we're serious about educating all of our kids.
Yeah, I love it. All right, y'all, we're out of here. Thank you so much, Dr. Gordon. Thank you so much, Jarrell, for coming through. We didn't hear your voice, but we see your face. But it's a good thing. So we've been talking to Dr. John Gordon of Suffolk Public Schools right here on Praise Radio.